Good morning, students, and welcome to the class of English. Children, it's a revision class, and in this class, we are going to study some important questions which may be asked in the board exams. And today, I'm with the chapter Deep Water by William Douglas. So, now let's start the class and discuss some important questions. As you know, children, today that this year we are going to have the English paper divided into two parts. All right, and the first part would be objective of 40 marks, and second part would be again of 40 marks, that would be subjective, means in detail you have to write the answers. So as it is a new format and you must be aware about it, but how through you are with this thing, that is the main point. You must prepare yourself with this thing, and the nice way is to practice and practice and practice, and then that thing will be in your brain imprinted. So now I'm going to collect some important questions and discuss with you. And here now we are with some important MCQs from the chapter Deep Water. So let's start. Read the following extract and answer the questions that follow. It had happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at the YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. The Yakima River was treacherous. Mother continually warned against it and kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river. The children, poetry based extracts would also be there, and then prose based extracts would also be there. So, both the types of questions would be there. And for the blueprint of question paper, you can again go to back to my channel and watch the video for the blueprint of question paper and how the questions would be asked. And there I have discussed in detail about the question paper. So children, as this is the extract and it is a prose extract, and if we understand the lines, then it is from the Deep Water. So now if we go back to the question answers, the author decided to learn to swim. So clear? So just read the first line. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at the YMCA in Yakima that afforded exactly the opportunity. So I think the answer is very clear, that the author had learned to swim in a pool at the YMCA. The Yakima River was treacherous as it was deep, it was very wide, it was very long, its water was too salty. So children, I think there is nothing to do with the width, length and saltiness of water. Treacherous here means who can cheat and put you in trouble. So how a river or water can put you in trouble? Because of its depth, because it can sink down. So its answer would be it was very deep. The author's mother always warned the author not to learn to swim in a pool, not to learn to swim in the pool at the YMCA, not to enter the Yakima River for swimming or taking a bath, and not to go on the bank of Yakima River. Again, moving back to the passage extract. So, read the second last lines. Mother continually warned against it. Before that, the Yakima River was treacherous. Mother continually warned against it and kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river. So, what would be the correct answer? That is not to enter the Yakima River for swimming or taking a bath. The author's mother used to remind the author about the details of each dash in the river. So, read the last line. Mother continually warned against it and kept fresh in my mind the details of each drowning in the river. So, answer would be drowning. So, children, definitely you will find all the answers in the passage itself. Rarely it would be that you have to supply the answer from your own side, or you have to think of your own. And now move on to the next extract. He and I stood together in the surf. I hung on to him, yet the waves knocked me down and swept over me. I was buried in water. My breath was gone. I was frightened. Father laughed, but there was terror in my heart. at the overpowering force of the waves. When quickly the question answers, here he refers to the author, the author's father, another boy, none of these. So he and I stood together in the surf. I hung on to him. Hung on to him means the I was totally dependent on he. It means I definitely will mean the narrator. So who is he then? The father. Narrator's father. So definitely the answer would be the author's father. The author buried water due to his father's fault, his overconfidence, the lack of confidence, and the great waves. So I think my children A, B, and D. These are wrong because there was no fault of father. Father didn't want that he should get buried in the water. There is nothing like confidence and overconfidence because narrator was a small child. So the answer would be the great waves. My breath was gone, and here it means the author lost his life. The author was too frightened. The author almost lost his life. The author was taken aback. The children, author was too frightened. Uh, Frightening is okay, but then it's not something like incomplete. The author was taken aback. Taken aback means shocked, yes, but it was quite a dangerous experience. So definitely B and D would not be the right choice. If we go by A and C, so the author lost his life. No, if he would have lost his life, then no one would be there to tell us this story. So then the correct option would be the author almost lost his life. The author had terror in his heart at the dash forces of the wave. So read the last line. But there was a terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the wave. So answer would be overpowering. Next extract, with that he picked me up and tossed me into the deep end. I landed in a sitting position, swallowed water and went at the once to the bottom. I was frightened and but not yet frightened out of my wits. On the way down I planned, when my feet hit the bottom, I would make a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it and paddle to the edge of the pool. Okay, so now question is, when the boxer boy picked the author up and tossed him into deep water, the author had just entered the pool, was sitting on the side of the pool, was standing in the knee deep water, was swimming in the pool. I think D option is the odd one out. It cannot be possible because if it is only swimming, why the boy will put him in the water? Was standing in the knee deep water. So I think again this option would be wrong because if the boy is in the water, why the big boy will pick him up? Picking him up means he was sitting on the side of the pool. So it would be the correct answer. Next question, at this moment the author was a perfect swimmer, was an imperfect swimmer, did not know swimming at all, did not know swimming in a huge river. So children, its answer would be that he was an imperfect swimmer because earlier he had tried and he had been in the YMCA pool for some days. It means he was an imperfect swimmer would be the correct answer. When the author's feet touched the bottom, he made a big jump, lay flat at the bottom, made no effort to come to the surface. None of these. Children, if you remember the story, author had come to the surface of the water thrice. Means 3 times he went down and 3 times he tried to come up. It means the answer would be made a big jump. Next, the author was frightened out of his. If you want to check the answer, so again move back to the extract. Let's check this line, second line. I was frightened but not yet frightened out of my wits. So I think if you check the word wits and match it here, so the answer would be the author was frightened and out of his wits. Next, I flailed at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights, paralyzed and rigid. A great force was pulling me under. I screamed, but only the water heard me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. So, question is, the author was moving at the surface of the water and tried to bring his arms up, bring his legs up, bring his eyes and nose up, and all of these. So, if we check the lines, first line only, I flailed at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked it. I tried to bring my legs up. So, I think it would be the correct answer, that he tried to bring his legs up. Next is, the author screamed, but no one heard his scream because no one was there at that moment. No one wanted to help him. His voice was too low to be heard by others. His mouth was still under the water. So again go back the passage. See, read the third line. I screamed, but only the water heard me. It means a great wave force was putting me under, and I screamed, but only the water heard me. It means the author is under the water. So you can make this right choice, that his mouth was still under the water. Children, just think over it. That means by now we are dealing with the fourth extract, and I think all the answers you are getting in the passage. So I think it's a nice trick that whenever you try to solve these kind of extracts, just try read the extract first of all. You will get all the answers there. The author again reads the dash of the pool. Okay, so read the last line. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. It means the author again reads the bottom of the pool. So bottom is the right answer word, and you have got it in the extract only. Fifth one, and then sheer stark terror seized me. Terror that knows no understanding, terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand, and who has not experienced it. I was shrinking in the water. I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. So now question number one. At this moment, the author was, see, again read the passage. And then sheer stark terror seized me, terror that knows no understanding, terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand, who has not experienced this. I was shrieking underwater. Alright. Shrieking means trying to shout, cry underwater. I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. So at the moment, where was the author? He was at the bottom of the water, because surface is not the answer, edge is not the answer, and out of the pool not the answer. If he would be in these three situations, then there will be no problem. Next question, the state of terror experienced by the author could be understood only by those who had never experienced such terror, who had never experienced any terror, who had experienced a terror, who had experienced such terror. So definitely, if you read the second line, and then sheer stark terror seized me, terror that knows no understanding, terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand, who has not experienced it. So who cannot understand his terror? Who has not experienced it. Then who can understand his terror? Who has experienced it. Okay, so answer would be who had experienced such terror. And then see here, first two options would be wrong. Who had never experienced, who had never experienced. So these two are odd one out. Then we have two choices. Who had experienced a terror and who had experienced such terror. So why we'll put such terror? Alright, because and why not answer is who had experienced a terror? Because we are not talking about the terror applicable when the person is struggling with water. Terror could be when you are going for trekking and suddenly there is avalanche break, and then what to do when you are going to be buried under the avalanche, the snow, and that is also a very terrific situation. So that's why we are not talking about a particular terror. That's why the answer is such terror. The author was paralyzed underwater due to why he was paralyzed? Extreme cold, extreme tiredness, extreme nervousness, overwhelming fear. So he was paralyzed underwater. Okay, and see the last line, I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. So I think the answer is given here with fear. So it means if we check the choices, so cold, tiredness, nervousness, fear. So I think overwhelming fear will be the right answer. The stark dash seized me. Again, go back to the passage. The stark first line, and the sheer stark terror seized me. So answer would be terror. Now, next extract, children. Several hours later, I walked home and I was walking and trembling. I shook and cried when I lay on my bed. I couldn't eat that night. For days, a haunting fear was in my heart. The slightest exertion upset me, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. Okay, now questions. For several hours, the author was beside the pool, with the instructor, in the pool, none of these. So the answer is for several hours, where was the author? Definitely in the pool. Okay, because it's written in the first line, for several hours later, I walked home. It means for several hours he was in the pool only. The author was trembling even when he lay on his bed because of his weakness, paralysis, extreme cold, haunting fear of drowning in water. So definitely for days, read the second line, for days a haunting fear has been in my heart. So what is the answer? Haunting fear of drowning in water. Third question, Douglas was so affected by the drowning experience that he trembled even at his home that day, did not eat that night, cried even at his home and that day, all of these. So the slightest exertion, so okay, read the first line. I was weak and trembling, I shook and cried, and when I lay on my bed, I couldn't eat that night. So why the so the question is Douglas was so affected by the drowning incident that he definitely the answer would be uh, trembled even at his home. Okay, and think trembling is the and did not eat at night is also right, and cried. All right, he cried also at his home. So answer would be all of these. See, I shook and cried, and when I lay on my bed, so he cried also. He could not eat also. All right, so did not eat is there, cried is also there. So if two things are matching, all right, and it's not like this that answer is C and D, A and B, ABC, ABD. It means only one way is there. If you find that two answers are there from this question, and you can't make the choice one as the answer because C and D both are the answers, definitely the answer would be all of these. Even the slightest dash perturbed the author. Okay, so answer is read the second line. The slightest exertion upset me. So perturbed means disturbed, made painful. So even slightest exertion, answer would be exertion. Next question, I used to every way I knew how to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Finally, one October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week, an hour each day. So now questions. In order to prevail over the fear of water, the author made no efforts, made a little efforts, made all efforts, did nothing. So just read the extract again. I used every way I knew to overcome this fear. So I think the author used every way to overcome his fear. So I think the answer would be made all efforts. But it held me firmly in its grip. Here it refers to which thing held him firmly. What? That is Desire to learn to swim, desire to have an instructor, desire to practice a lot. No. If we understand the chapter and understand this line only, I used every way. I need to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Again, children, you have got the answer in the extract only. The fear gripped him. So the answer would be terror of water. The author's regular practice to learn to swim could not yield a good result, could not make him a perfect swimmer, made him a perfect swimmer, could not help him overcome the terror of water. So I think after regular practice, again and again, what happened? He turned out to be a perfect swimmer. So it will be the answer. The author practiced to swim dash days a week. So you can read the second line. I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week and hour each day. Alright, so the answer is 5 days a week. On each trip across the pool, a bit of the panic seized me. Each time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope and I went under, some of the old terror returned and my legs froze. It was 3 months before the tension began to slack. Alright, so children, the question number first, the author is panicked off. Right? So the choices are there: the instructor, the water, the rope, the boxer boy. So let's read the extract. On each side of the pool, a bit of panic seized me. So the answer would be water. Our 3 months of regular practice to him, the author's fear of water remained the same, dwindled, came to an end, increased. Alright. So after 3 months of regular practice, so in the last line, it was 3 months before the tension began to slack. Tension began to slack means it began to lower down. So remained the same, no. Came to an end, no. Increased, no. Dwindled would be the right answer. When the author's instructor slackened his hold on the rope, the author went under the water without any fear, without any tension, with overconfidence, with old terror. So what happened? Read the second line. Each time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope and I went under. So the old terror returned. Old terror means he went into the water with some old terror. Whenever the author went into the dash, a bit of panic seized me. So read then. On each trip across the pool, a bit of panic seized me. Let's read the choices. Okay. So the answer is pool. Now next, I think you have understood. Let's go back to the question. Question was, whenever the author went into the dash, all right. So on each trip across the pool, the first line. So the answer is pool here. Now next extract is, thus piece by piece he built a swimmer, and when he had perfected each piece, he put them together into an integrated whole. In April, he said, now you can swim. Dive off and swim the length of the pool, crawl stroke. So here he refers to, who is he? Thus piece by piece he built a swimmer. Who has built a swimmer out of the, you can say, of the narrator? So definitely he is the instructor here. He helped the author in becoming only a poor swimmer, becoming an average swimmer, becoming a good swimmer, none of these. So children, no teacher wants his child or disciple to be a average, poor, or none of these. Every teacher wants that his disciple should be good. So answer would be becoming a good swimmer. Now the author could dive off the pool, swim the length of the pool, crawl stroke, all of these. So just read the extract. Now you can swim, dive off and swim the length of the pool, crawl stroke. So all these things are there. So answer would be all of these. Dive the pool, swim the length, crawl stroke. The author was dash in each technique of swimming. So author was definitely perfected. See, read the first line. and when he had perfected each piece. So answer would be perfected. Now next is next extract. This went on until July, but I was still not satisfied. I was not sure that all the terror had left. So I went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire, dived off a dock at Trug's Island, and swam 2 miles across the lake to swim at Island. And so the question is, this went on until July. Here this refers to, what is this? Terror of water, swimming length of the pool by the author, dissatisfaction of the author, training by the author's instructor. So see, this went on until July. I was not satisfied and I was not sure that all the terror had vanished. So I went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire. It means the author practiced in the water. So answer would be swimming length of the pool by the author. Because terror of water and dissatisfaction about the water, these are two odd choices. It can be there. Now, next question is, the author dived off a dock at Trug's Island to remove the residual terror of water, learn to swim, get training of swimming, all of these. So, children, as you can see, second line. So I went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire, dived off a dock at Trug's Island, and see, did the first line. I was not sure that all the terror had left. It means some was still there, the terror of water. So I went to Lake Wentworth and dived off a dock at Trug's Island. It means the author went to Lake Wentworth, New Hampshire with an objective, which was, sorry, you have to be in question in a second. The author dived off a dock at Trug's Island to remove the residual terror of water. Alright. The author went to Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire with an objective which was not fulfilled at all, partly fulfilled, completely fulfilled, never fulfilled. So see what happened. He dived off a dock at Trug's Island and swam 2 miles across the lake to Stampeck Island. I think the target was completed, but not that much. So we'll say partly fulfilled. Next, the author was not sure that his all the dash had left. So answer would be terror only. Now the experience had a deep meaning for me, as only those who have known stark terror and conquered it can appreciate. In death there is peace, there is terror only in the fear of death. As Roosevelt knew when he said, all we have to fear is fear itself. Children, it's a very challenging line by Roosevelt, the President of America, you know very well. So, I'll explain this line here only, and I have explained in the videos, earlier videos when I explained a chapter. Now, see, first discuss these questions and I will go through it. The experience had a deep meaning for me. Here the author is talking about his experience of swimming in water, learning to swim, fear of water, hard work he did to learn to swim. See, the experience had deep meaning for me, as only those who have known stark terror and conquered it can appreciate. So, I think answer would be fear of water. Here the author conveys a message to the readers that all of us must learn to swim without any fear. Our instructor plays a significant role in our life. We must not let fear grip us. People are victims of circumstances. Okay, so in death there is peace, there is terror only in the fear of death. So the answer would be, we must not let fear grip us. Okay, next question. In death there is peace. So this sentence the author tells us that we must die to have peace. Fear is like death. We should fear death. We should not fear even death. So the answer is, we should not fear even death. If we do not fear death, we will not have, definitely, if we do not fear death, we will not have terror. Okay, that would be the answer. So that's all, children, in this discussion. Let me tell you about one line which has come over here by Roosevelt. All we have to fear is fear itself. Children, we are afraid of unknown things. We are afraid of ourselves. We are afraid of our strength. But if we are afraid of fear, see, as plus in, I might have studied in mathematics or physics, plus plus minus and minus minus plus, correct? So here the same formula applies. All we have to fear is fear itself. I'll have to explain in Hindi. अगर हम डर से डरेंगे, एंड व्हाट वी डू चिल्ड्रन, अगर हम किसी से डरते हैं तो क्या करते हैं, उससे दूर भागते हैं, ऑलराइट, वी डोंट अलाउ दैट थिंग टू कम नियर अस. सिमिलरली, अगर हम डर से डरेंगे एंड वी विल नॉट अलाउ फियर टू कम नियर अस, definitely we will be a courageous person. So I think this line is clear to everyone, that what Roosevelt said, and I think you might have got benefited with these question answers, and you will use this knowledge in the forthcoming exams. So that's all, children, for today, and till my next video, thank you and goodbye.